Imagine this. Abruptly, the familiar world vanishes, and we are abruptly thrust into a Wrol or TEOTWAWKI situation. Here, the acronyms Wrol stands for without rule of law, a time where order and justice are no longer upheld, and our society descends into chaos. TEOTWAWKI signifies the end of the world as we know it, a cataclysmic event that completely overturns our existing systems and way of life. Now, envisage societal norms and structures crumbling. We could be staring at the dire consequences of a devastating nuclear war, a catastrophic environmental disaster, or even a financial collapse or EMP. These scenarios leave us with no choice but to fend for ourselves. Preparing for such drastic events isn't about succumbing to fear, but rather, it's a question of survival. It's about understanding that in a rapidly shifting world, these grim possibilities are indeed conceivable. The consequences of being unprepared could be lethal. It could mean the difference between life and death, between a community's survival or its complete obliteration. Thus, we must consider these possibilities and prepare ourselves in every possible way to face them. In a world lacking law enforcement, or in a post-disaster setting, the risks are numerous and varied. In this dystopian reality, all survival methods we're familiar with would be rendered ineffective and outdated. The safe, secure, predictable world we're accustomed to would be flipped upside down, ushering in a terrifying reality where only the strongest have a fighting chance at survival. The most immediate and pressing risk would be the drastic shortage of basic necessities, such as food and water. These resources that we casually take for granted in our comfortable daily lives would suddenly become scarce, unusual, or even entirely absent. This would not only induce discomfort, but could escalate to grave health concerns, such as malnutrition and dehydration, potentially posing a threat to human lives. In our world, we enjoy the convenience of simply turning a tap or opening a fridge to access food and water. But in this lawless, post-disaster world, obtaining these basic life necessities would be an enormous challenge. The lack of a functioning infrastructure would mean that securing these critical resources becomes an ongoing struggle, a ceaseless fight for survival. Supermarkets or local shops for groceries would no longer exist, nor would there be safe, sanitized drinking water pouring from our taps. Each day would be a struggle, an unyielding effort to locate and lock down these crucial supplies. Moreover, the absence of healthcare facilities and medical services would pose another significant risk. There would be no doctors, no nurses, no hospitals to approach in case of injuries or illnesses. Basic healthcare, a fundamental human right in our world, would become a luxury, a privilege few could afford. Without antibiotics or painkillers, surgeries or treatments, diseases and disorders that are typically manageable with medication in our world spiral out of control rapidly, leading to immense loss of life. The lack of law enforcement, coupled with the escalating sense of desperation, would greatly enhance the potential for violence and chaos. As resources dwindle and desperation takes hold, conflicts and confrontations could become commonplace as individuals and groups skirmish over the limited resources available. This would add another layer of danger to an already hazardous existence, making survival even more formidable. By comprehending these risks fully, we can kickstart the development of strategies to lessen their impact. A world without the rule of law is a daunting prospect, but by recognizing these, we could discover a way to survive, maybe even flourish in such a world. Before we dive into the importance of preparedness, we'd like to remind you that you're not alone in this journey. Subscribe to be notified of our upcoming video on how to best prepare for the risks of a Wrol or TEOTWAWKI situation. We've got a wealth of information to share, from practical skills to psychological strategies, and we're always updating with new insights and advice. If you're finding our survival guide helpful, don't forget to like this video to show your support. Your likes help us reach more people like you, people who are committed to building resilience and staying prepared. Survival is not just about living through a crisis, it's about thriving despite it. As we've explored today, understanding the risks in a Wrol or TEOTWAWKI situation is crucial. Formulating survival strategies is not just about securing resources, but also about mental fortitude and community strength. Preparedness is key, not only in stocking up supplies, but in acquiring skills and knowledge. In the end, survival is about more than just staying alive. It's about preserving our humanity and our dignity, no matter what happens.